Welcome back. All right, so 11 games tonight, or no, 10 games tonight. The 11 games, I'm thinking ahead already to Tuesday. Tuesday looks like it's going to be pretty busy. Saturday, there's hockey all day because it's Hockey Day in Canada. And then Sunday, there's games sporadically spread throughout the day as well. So, some busy days coming up for me. And for hockey fans in general, if you like to watch hockey in Europe, the weekend could be good for you because there's going to be games on early enough to watch them. All right. First up, we're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens and the Anaheim Ducks. And for Montreal, close, right? Other than the Zegras show, maybe this could have ended up different, but for Montreal, it's much the same story. It's Stolarz versus Primo. Early save by Primo, and I put saves, but only one of them was qualified as a shot. So the shots are 4-1 for the Habs at 6.5 minutes. I thought they started out well, but it's Carrick that opens the scoring from Steele at 8:14. The Habs try to answer. Ducks cleared out. Pressed by the Habs with 8.5 minutes left. The Habs get a power play. It's killed off. And then the Ducks get a 4-minute power play. So that double minor, they put it to use. Fowler scores from Henrique at 15:12. And then Terry adds a power play goal from Fowler and Shattenkirk at 17:06. The Ducks then press for another. In fact, in the last minute, they kept that pressure up. So it's 3-0 Anaheim after one. Second period, early on, Evans scores from Pitlick and Anderson at 1:15. And then Zegras does what we had expected him to do this year at some point. He scores a lacrosse goal from behind the net. Makes it look nice and easy, too. From Silverberg and Benoit at 1:25. So it was 3-1 for 10 seconds, and then it became 4-1. Shots are 3-2 for the Habs at 7 minutes. We get a power play from Montreal. They do score on it. It's Lehkonen from Hoffman and Toffoli at 9:54. But Zegras adds another from Terry and Drysdale at 14:04. That makes it 5-2 for Anaheim. Third period, Evans, much like the second period, he scores again early in the third from Pitlick at 1:23. So that makes it a little closer. Ducks get a power play. That was killed off. There's another power play for the Ducks. It's killed off as well. So outside of the 4-minute power play, the Ducks power play did not hit tonight, but those two on the 4-minute power play. Dauphin would score from at 14:02 to make it 5-4. Montreal does pull the goaltender. They are unable to tie the game. So the final score is 5-4 for Anaheim. They go to 22-16 and 8. The Montreal Canadiens drop to 8-27 and 7. Your three stars are Zegras, Terry, and Evans. The shots favor Montreal the whole way. 16-9 in the first, 12-5 in the second, 12-10 in the third. Final shots 40-24 for the Habs. Power plays, Anaheim 2 for 4, Montreal 1 for 2. The hits, 21-14 for Montreal, so they outshot him and outhit him. Stolarz, 36 saves on 40 shots. Primo saves 6 out of 9. He's replaced by Montembeault, who in the final two periods saves 13 out of 15. So, rough night for Montreal. They almost come back and tie it, but it's just not meant to be. Moving along. Carolina. Carolina has some problems with the Ottawa Senators, don't they? Or I guess more specifically, Matt Murray has turned his season around nicely here. So it's Anderson versus Murray. I forgot to put the SO on there. So Anderson versus Murray. The shots are 3-2 for the Sens at 5 minutes. This is where I point out there were 7 games started at the same time. So I watch what I can, and we had 10 games on at the same time for an hour there. Canes get a power play. It was a good penalty kill. No shots. Pressed by the Canes with 7 minutes left. Long stretch without a shot for the Senators. Jarvis with a rush draws a penalty. At the very least, the rush in general by Carolina, it's not Jarvis that draws the penalty. It was the other player that's with them. Either way, there's a power play, but it's killed off, and Murray was keeping it scoreless at this point. There's a post then for Brady Tkachuk, who hasn't scored in 10 games. Norris gets shaken up on a hit with Svechnikov. He would get up and leave. He didn't come back in the part of the game I was watching. I don't know if he necessarily came back. I didn't see him in the overtime, so I don't think he came back. So we go to the second period scoreless, and it's scoreless until Stepan, former Senator, scores from Shea at 2:31. Trocheck then has a rush chance that's saved. Holden has a blast saved, but then Paul, on a puck that deflects in at 4:31, ties up the game. Shabbat then has a rush chance. The Sens were equal in shots, equally played Carolina through the first half of the game. Svechnikov to Aho, a near miss there. There's a power play for the Senators. That's killed off. Paul with the net feed. That was kicked away. And in the last moments, Nechas had a rush chance that wouldn't go. So we go to the third period tied at 1. Teravainen can't bury one early. The shots are 2-0 for the Canes, 5 minutes into it. So Canes start out pretty well. But Formenton on the first shot of the third period, he scores on a perfect tip. Mete and Gaudette with the assists at 5:50. So Gaudette continues to put up some points. And so that makes it a 2-1 lead for the Ottawa Senators. Canes try to answer. Sens had a 3-on-2 that was defended. There's a press by the Senators with 7.5 minutes left, but eventually Carolina does tie it. It's Niederreiter from Slavin and Trocheck at 16:38. So we go to overtime. Long shift for Chabot. He was out there for at least 3 minutes, and I'm pretty sure he came back out again. Like he's one of those defensemen you could just leave him on the ice. He's kind of a throwback that way, back to when they didn't track ice time and you just left the guy out there. Chabot's that guy. Canes control. They were able to change lines as well. They had chances, but no finish. So they just were not able to finish at the net. Tkachuk has a break. He can't bury there either. A quick whistle then helped the Canes on that. I'm not sure why the whistle blew there. The puck was live and it was loose. Senators then call a timeout with 49.8 seconds left. Stützle draws a penalty. The Canes take a timeout. It's Slavin that was in the box. Ends up not being a big deal. We go to the shootout. In the shootout, it's Svechnikov that gets the winner for Carolina. They survive a scare. They win 3-2 in the shootout. They go to 29-9-2. For the Senators, they drop to 13-20-4 on the season. Your 3 stars are Anderson, Niederreiter, and Formenton. The shots, 15-7 Carolina in the first, 20-6 Ottawa in the second, 9-7 Ottawa in the third, and in the overtime, they outshot Carolina 3-1. Final shots, 39-29 for Ottawa. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 2. The hits also favored Ottawa 39-20. So, yeah, Carolina kind of gets away with one tonight. Anderson saves 37 out of 39. Matt Murray continues his comeback, his redemption. 27 saves on 29 shots. Loses in the shootout, but still, Murray putting up some decent numbers and fixing his stats from earlier in the season. All right, moving along. New Jersey. The Devils, for a moment there, I thought maybe they were going to pull this off. They did. And it's weird because clearly Tampa Bay has some issues with New Jersey because New Jersey beat them earlier in the season, and here we are again. It was Gillies versus Vasilevsky, and Gillies continues to show, maybe there's a future there for this guy at the NHL level. Bolts press at 3 minutes. There's a power play for the Devils. Hughes fires one high, but then Severson scores on that power play at 4:33. So it's 1-0 for the Devils. Stamkos has a net feed that's blocked. Boquist was denied as the Devils press. In fact, the shots are 7-4 for the Devils with 9.5 minutes left. Devils were playing very well. Palat then is denied on a 3-on-2, and on the same play, Sergachev was robbed. So, Tampa Bay getting some opportunities there. The Bolts had a better second half, and in the last minute, they had chances as well. So we go to the second period with a 1-0 New Jersey. Tampa Bay gets the early power play, and they score on it. It's Killorn on the power play from Hedman and Stamkos at 1:46, and then the Bolts press for the lead. This is where the momentum really kicks in. Foote fires one wide, more pressure from the Bolts. Claesson fires one wide. Devils press, they draw a power play. It was 4 minutes for Ruda. And this is where the game's momentum really shifts. So you get a shorthanded chance for Belmar, but then Joseph does score shorthanded at 14-16, and the Bolts kill off the rest. So it's a 4-minute power play for New Jersey. Tampa scores on it, and they have the lead. Bratt then has a rush chance. Sergachev defends on that, doesn't give him a chance to get the shot off. So we go to the third period. Lots of early play without a whistle. The shots are only 1 apiece at 7.5 minutes. The Bolts press, Gillies making saves, and that looked really key because then Jack Hughes scores from Bratt and Severson at 10:55. 1 minute exactly later, Cirelli ties it, puts Tampa Bay back in the lead, I should say. New Jersey ties it. Cirelli gets the 3-2 goal from Point and Palat at 11:55. The Devils pull the goaltender late, but in the end, the final score is 3-2 for Tampa. They go to 29-10-5. For New Jersey, they drop to 15-22-5. Your shots in this one, Tampa Bay outshot New Jersey 18-12 in the first period. Second period, 14-11 for New Jersey. Third period, 7-6 New Jersey. Final shots, 35-33 for Tampa. Power plays, 1 for 3 for New Jersey, 1 for 1 for Tampa, so they were efficient. And the hits were 35-25 for Tampa. I didn't mention the 3 stars, did I? Cirelli, Joseph, and Severson are your 3 stars. Gillies, 32 saves on 35 shots. Vasilevsky, 31 saves on 33 shots. Just another standard game for Vasilevsky. Saves 31 out of 33. And doesn't get a mention in the 3 stars because Vasilevsky, you're just used to it. That's just how that works. All right, next up. Last one on this board is Vegas in against Florida. And it's Leonard against Spencer Knight. Now, I saw a lot of complaining about Spencer Knight a couple weeks ago. He's getting better. Turns out he's a young goaltender, and sometimes they go through those rough patches. He's getting better. Florida deciding to play him through it. Looks pretty smart right now. So Pacioretty was back in tonight's game. He doesn't end up getting a point out of it, but he was prominent. Early Panthers chances. In fact, the shots were 5-1 for the Panthers at 3.5 minutes. They ended up being like 7-1. Duclair was denied by Leonard. And then at 7:51, it's Vegas, kind of against the flow of play. White Cloud scores from Janmark and Theodore. So when there's 7 games on, there's one game that I will just leave on my computer. This was the one I left on my computer because I was like, that's kind of the main event. I need to make sure that game is one that I'm following as much as possible. Coughlin has a blast that's kicked aside. Pacioretty has a chance to save as Vegas presses. Vegas presses again with 5.5 minutes left. Vegas then with some shot blocks when Florida had a chance. Good second half for Vegas. They get a late power play. There was a shorthanded chance for Verhaeghe was defended, but then Barkov. He gets one from Lundell shorthanded at 19:31. So your Selke winner scores his 200th career goal with that one. And so for Barkov, a pretty solid way to kill off a penalty right there, getting the shorthanded marker to make it 1-1 after 1. Second period. 43 seconds in, or 43 seconds of a Vegas power play to start the period. Panthers kill that off, and then shortly thereafter, at 1 minute and 18 seconds, Bennett scores from Barkov. He put that one through Leonard, and as the announcer said, Leonard would probably want that one back. But that makes it 2-1. Panthers look for another. They get a power play. There's a post for Bennett. Then we end up with a 4-on-4. It doesn't really end up mattering. Everything gets killed off there. There's another Vegas power play. That's killed off. Vegas presses with 9.5 minutes left. They pressed again with 3 minutes left. Vegas played a very good road game tonight. Barkov has a rush chance that's saved. But going into the third period, Florida's ahead. Florida is 21-0 if they lead after 2. So he could kind of turn it off. You would have missed a very entertaining third if you did, though. So early chances for Vegas. Verhaeghe then blasts one wide. Vegas presses at 3 minutes. Pacioretty fires one wide. Verhaeghe then a rush chance that was denied. Ekblad fires one wide as the Panthers start to press. I thought the Panthers did a good job in the final 5 minutes of keeping the puck in the Vegas zone a lot, so they couldn't pull the goaltender. Goalie gets pulled with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. That's enough time for Florida to add a couple empty netters. First, it's Marchman at 19:06, and then it's Bennett scoring from Huberdeau and Barkov at 19:31 into the empty net to make the score a little more lopsided than it was, 4-1. Florida ends up 39-5 with the win, so they're 22-3 at home. They're excellent at home. Vegas 25-16-3 with the loss. It's a rough road trip. It really is. 3 stars are Barkov, Knight, and Bennett. Your shots, 14-11 for Florida in the first, 9-6 Vegas in the second, and then 12-5 Florida in the third. They really took over in the third. Final shots, 32-25 for Florida. Power plays, Vegas 0 for 3, Florida 0 for 1. The hits were 37-31 for Florida, so they outshot them and out-hit them. Leonard saves 28 out of 30, had a very good game. Knight, 24 saves on 25 shots. His numbers are getting better, and I think there's a reason to be kind of excited if you're a Florida fan that now both goalies are going. That's really a key thing, and they now have that working in their favor. Let's go ahead and change boards. Rabbit discussion to start this part of it. This is Licorice. Licorice just chills all day. His almost twin sister, Jet, she's a little bigger than he is. They're the same age, so they're twins. But she has started to consume the magnets off these boards when I put them down here. So towards the end of last night's review, you'll notice there was a pause because I noticed she had knocked off a couple of the magnets off the board and she started chomping on them. So I saved the magnets. They're not broken, but I have to watch because apparently she thinks magnets are delicious. So might be a bad fit, right? Anyways, that's the one I chose. All the rabbits I could pick, and I picked her. So Kings in against the Islanders tonight. It was Peterson versus Varlamov, and it's game number 1,000 for Drew Doughty. So maybe a video in there, right? Early control for the Kings. Pajot has a tip that saved on a rush. The Kings then press at 6 minutes. The shots are 4-1 for the Kings at 7 minutes, and it felt like the Kings came in and played an Islanders game. Not a lot of power plays, fast game. not giving them any opportunities. It felt like the Kings came in and did the Islanders thing tonight. So Barzal has a rush chance, that's defended. Arvidsson blasts one high, but then at 17:05, Quinton Byfield with his first NHL goal from Athanasiou and Brown. And I really think Byfield is going to be a pretty good player. I'm going out on a limb, I know, but I think he's got the size and the skill. Gets a goal here tonight. In the last minute, there was a chance for Lee that was saved and held, but it's 1-0 LA after one. Second period. The early presses by the Kings. The Islanders then, there's a fourth line, decent fourth line shift there where they get some chances. Wallstrom with a net feed, the Islanders press. Kings get a power play. The Islanders kill that off. Bailey has a blast that's saved. The Islanders then get a power play. There's a post for Salo. They only end up recording one shot on that power play. The Kings do kill it off. And then with 6 seconds left, Athanasiou, and it was a nice goal by him, he scores from Kopitar and Brown to make it 2-0 for the Kings after two. Third period. Early press by the Kings. Lots of play on the boards. And again, this is just that hard work by the Kings. And it's not like fancy hockey, but it's efficient and it works. If you're keeping them along the boards, they're not getting to the net. So the Islanders weren't getting shots early in the period. Dursey prevents a net feed from Martin. Kopitar then can't bury one. The shots at the half, though, are 5-2 for the Islanders. That changes in the second half. The goalie is pulled with 2:30 left. The Islanders do score. It's Barzal at 17:56, so they pull the goalie again. That allows LA to get the empty netter. It's Kempe scoring from Kopitar and Moore at 19:24. So the Islanders go for it again. 16 seconds later, Sazika scores from Martin and Clutterbuck. That's as close as the Islanders would get. LA wins this one 3-2. They go to 22-16-6. The Islanders drop to 15-15-6. So the Islanders just can't get 2 games above 500. And now, the number of games they have in hand on everybody else is starting to drop. So, problems. 3 stars are Byfield, Athanasiou, and Doughty. So, all LA on that one. Shots, 9-3 LA in the first period, 13-11 Islanders in the second, 10-9 LA in the third. Final shots, 30-25 for the Kings. Both teams had 1 power play, nothing doing. Hits were 27-17 for the Islanders. Peterson saves 23 out of 25. Varlamov saves 27 out of 29. It's one of those weird stat lines where because there's an empty netter in there, both goalies allowed the same amount of goals. And it wasn't a shootout or anything either. So it's just one of those bizarre stat line things. So yeah, the Kings, they keep it going, which is good because there's teams behind them that didn't. Seattle did, though. So Seattle in against Pittsburgh. This might have been considered a trap game, but I thought, you know what? Pittsburgh's been playing pretty darn well. Shouldn't be a problem. It's Grubauer versus Jarry. Grubauer is getting better. This is the kind of thing I was talking about weeks ago, where I understand there are some people who are very defensive about Grubauer's stats not being very good, but now his numbers are getting better, right? So early press by Seattle. The Penguins then pressure on a Seattle turnover. We get a power play for the Penguins. That's killed off. The shots with 9 minutes left were 5-5, which impressed me. I thought, you know what? The fact that Seattle's keeping this game pretty even with how well Pittsburgh's been playing, not bad. Rodriguez was then denied. Dumoulin has a chance that's tipped wide. It's scoreless after the first. Second period. Donato has a shot that's blocked. Good start for Seattle again. Kuhlman can't bury one. The shots, though, on net, 3-0 for the Penguins at 8 minutes. So Seattle has a good start. They don't have a shot. These things happen. And the momentum at that point is starting to turn in favor of the Penguins. Wenberg would fire one high. The Penguins press with 4.5 minutes left. Rodriguez blasts one. That's blocked. So he's denied in the first and he's blocked in the second. Malkin's drive was saved. Seattle's pinned down. And Grubauer was the story, especially I thought in that second period. Seattle did very little. They only had 2 shots in the second period. Grubauer's the one that's keeping this scoreless after 2. Third period. Penguins press on the first shift. Wenberg then had a rush chance. That was defended. We get a power play for Seattle. McCann fires one wide. There's a post for Vince Dunn. It's a good power play, but it's killed off. Kuhlman had a net feed that wouldn't go. The Penguins get a power play. Letang can't bury there. Strong power play, and eventually it scores. It's Malkin opening the scoring from Letang and Russ at 8:41. And I'll be honest, at that point I thought, all right, well, that's it. That's done. Pittsburgh goes ahead 1-0. Good game for Grubauer, good game for Seattle, but Pittsburgh game. However, Yarncroke was denied during a Seattle power play that the Penguins would kill off, which was shortly after the Penguins scored on theirs. Eberle with a break, Jarry robs him. Everything looks fine until Seattle wins a faceoff and McCann tips one in. Dunn and Johansson with the assists at 16:04. So former Pittsburgh Penguin Jared McCann ties up the game. We go to overtime. McCann was denied early in overtime. Then Gensel's denied at the other end. Crosby fires one high. Seattle comes down the net. Yeah, it comes down towards the net. Larson. Yeah, Adam Larson. All of a sudden, the offense is there for Larson. He scores the first ever overtime winner in the history of the Seattle Kraken. So this is the first time they've ever won in overtime. I should make sure that's on the board too. I know people aren't necessarily going to care, but I should make sure that's up there. That's the first ever overtime win in the history of Seattle. So they go to 14, 25, and 4 with the overtime win. Pittsburgh with the overtime loss, they're 27, 10, and 6. And yeah, Larson from Wenberg and Yarncroke at 117 ends it. Fantastic result for Seattle. 3 stars are Larson, McCann, and Malkin. Shots, 11-7 Pittsburgh in the first, 9-2 Pittsburgh in the second, and then 18-4 Seattle in the third, and 2-0 Seattle in the overtime. So for Pittsburgh, not a great third period. Final shots, 29-24 for Seattle. Power plays, Seattle 0 for 2, Pittsburgh 1 for 2. The hits, 33-29 for Pittsburgh. Grubauer saves 23 out of 24. I would have had him in the 3 stars personally. Jari saves 27 out of 29. He had a pretty good game too. So both goalies played very well. And again, for Grubauer, he is slowly improving his stats. They were pretty nightmarish stats early though, so it does take a little while. All right, moving along. Columbus at home against the New York Rangers. In a period, the first period is like the goaltending. The save percentages were not good in the first period. It's Georgiev versus Korpisalo, and on the first shot, this is what tells us what's going to happen. The Rangers score. It's Panarin from Fox and Lindgren at 129. And then on, I think it was their fourth shot, it was the third or fourth, Goodrow scores from Schneider and Panarin at 444. So at this point, I'm like, wow. So they get blown out by Calgary. Now they're going to get blown out by the Rangers, and worst yet, they're not getting the kind of saves that they would want from Korpisalo that they got from Merzlikins in the last game. However, at 5:49, barely a minute later, Nyquist scores from Laine and Jenner. Really nice pass from Laine there. And so it makes it 2-1. Then Columbus gets a power play, and they score on it because the goalies weren't making saves. Jenner scores from Werenski at 7:28. Columbus then with a 2-on-1. Laine couldn't bury there. Columbus gets another power play before the period's out. It's unsuccessful, but it's 2-2 after 1. Second period, shots are 1 apiece at 4 minutes. Both teams kind of playing back a bit and, good defense. Fox then has a rush chance that's saved. The Rangers, Goudreau ends up hitting the post for the Rangers. Corrali then puts Columbus in the lead for the first time in the game. He scores from Domi at 6:18. Robinson had a net drive that misfired. Kreider with a rush chance, that wouldn't go. But Jenner makes it a 4-2 lead for Columbus from Laine at 12:27. So, yeah, after 2 periods, suddenly Columbus is ahead 4-2. Third period, Fox exited. It looks like he hurt his wrist, jammed up against the boards. He would not return. So Ranger fans likely panicked. I don't blame them. I mean, if Fox is out for an extended period, that really hurts the Rangers. Shots are 4-1, though, for the Rangers of 5 minutes. They did play well in his absence. Rangers get a power play. They score on it. It's Zibanejad from Panarin and Schneider at 7:12. So Braden Schneider, is that his first power play point? I'm thinking it probably is. But yeah, so that makes it 4-3. The Rangers go back to the power play. It's killed off, but the Rangers have some momentum. And it's Columbus. The way Columbus has been playing lately, you don't take anything for granted. But an empty netter is scored at 17:46 by Corrali from Werenski and Jenner. And then with 1:47 left, just to keep things dramatic, the Rangers get a power play. And while they had some opportunities, your final score is 5-3 in favor of Columbus. They go to 19-21-1 with the win. Rangers drop to 28-12-4, and combined with the win from Carolina, they're now tied in points again. 3 stars are Jenner, Corrali, and Werenski. So all 3 of them from Columbus. The shots, 8-5 Rangers in the first period, 11-8 Columbus in the second. In the third, the Rangers had a lot of shots, 20 to Columbus's 3. So it's like Columbus has to have one bad period where they allow at least 20 shots now. That must be a new thing. Final shots, 36-19 for the Rangers. Power plays, Rangers 1 for 3, Columbus 1 for 2. And in the hits department, Columbus out hits them, 32-23. Georgiev saves 14 out of 18. Rough stat line for him. Korpisalo, after allowing 2 goals on I think their first 3 or 4 shots, he saves 33 out of 36. Good recovery from Korpisalo. And so for Columbus, they get the win. Now I need to change boards. Next up, St. Louis at home against the Calgary Flames. St. Louis must have remembered that game from the other day. Must have stewed on it a little bit, because tonight they took care of some business against the Calgary Flames. So it's Markstrom versus Husso in this one. Now, I saw that it was confirmed it was going to be Vladar, and then it was Markstrom. So, all right. Shots are 2-1 in favor of the Flames at 5 minutes. I always keep track of how they're doing early and are they doing well. Well, Richie's denied and close, and it's like, yeah, Calgary's off to a good start until Brandon Saad opens the scoring from Shannon Krug at 6:15. To Calgary's credit, they do answer. It's Backlund from Mangiapane at 10:34, so it's 1-1. But a little over 3 minutes later at 13:59, the Blues answer. It's Shen from Saad and Mikkola. So Shen and Saad with a goal and an assist in the first period. Nice fake, too, by Shen on that one. And I have down here, Vladar not set. The weird thing is, because they even said that. Let me take a look. Nope, I wrote it down wrong. All right, so Markstrom wasn't set on that one. Again, when you're flipping around between all these games, mistakes happen. So Perron and Dubé were then unfriendly, so we ended up with some 4-on-4 out of that. Shen then with a turnover, or Shen on a turnover, that was saved. So coming out of the first period, it is 2-1 in favor of the St. Louis Blues. So we go to the second period. Flames press, they draw themselves a power play, but a really aggressive penalty kill by the Blues. Falk had a shorthanded chance. That wouldn't go. And after that power play is done, 9:57 into the second period, Saad scores from Perron to make it 3-1 for St. Louis. Flames get a power play. That's killed off. Late power play for the Blues. So that rolls over into the third period. Flames finish the kill. Lucic with a net drive. That wouldn't go. Falk rush. He fires it high. And then Kyrou scores from Thomas and Scandella at 4:10, and he outweights Markstrom. There was no chance for Markstrom on that one. So we get the fake by Shen on this one. We get the outweighting by Kyrou on this one. The Blues are showing off their ability to get goals tonight, and that put them up to 4-1. Shots are only 2-1 for the Blues at 5 minutes. They've got the one goal there. They're up 4-1. They're just trying to kill this off. Buchnevich to Barbashev, near miss on that one. Husso saves. And then he took a poke at Coleman on that. I guess he figured Coleman was in too close, or Coleman took a shot at him, or whatever it was. And then minus the stick, Husso saves some more. There are goaltenders now in the NHL that will seemingly intentionally put their stick down so they can make saves. It just, that's how it appears with some goalies. Shillington then steals one from Saad. The Blues get a power play. That's killed off. With 1:54 left, they get another power play, and they score on it. So it's O'Reilly from Saad and Tarasenko at 18:59. It's reviewed, but it's in the net. It's not like it matters that much. Like it's 5-1 instead of 4-1. And so that's your final. The Blues 26-12-5 with the win. The Flames drop to 20-13-6. Your 3 stars are Saad, Husso, and Shen. The shots in this one, 11-6 St. Louis in the first, 15-10 Calgary in the second, 8-7 Calgary in the third. Final shots 29-28 for Calgary. Power plays 0-2 for Calgary, 1-4 for St. Louis. The hits 19-18 Calgary. So the hits, the shots are close, the score is not. Markstrom saves 23 out of 28. Husso saves 28 out of 29. So, there you go. That's how that game went. Next up, Vancouver. Spencer Martin. So I'm wearing the jersey because Spencer Martin, and also because, Pettersson. Good night for him. So it's Martin versus Hellebuck. The shots are 2-1 for the Jets, 3 minutes into this game. Strong start for Winnipeg. The Jets press with 9 minutes left. The Canucks, though, they get a power play, and they score on it. It's JT Miller from Besser and Pettersson at 13:23. Took 10 seconds into the power play for Vancouver to score and get the lead. Now, a little over 2 minutes later, Kopp answers from Wheeler and Dubois at 15:32. So it's a 1-1 draw there. Canucks are ahead, though, in shots and hits. And the hits eventually, they don't end up ahead, neither of them, but it's close. So last minute, Bailey has a chance. That wouldn't go, but we go to the second period with it tied at 1. The shots are 3-2 for the Canucks at 4.5 minutes. JT Miller then puts the Canucks back in the lead. He scores from Besser and Shen at 5:25. The Jets get a power play. Then they get another. Those power plays are unsuccessful. And Miller would score from Ekman Larson at 12:55. So Miller with the hat trick right there. That's the first hat trick the Canucks have had in a while. First one this season, I do believe. I'm trying to think of when it was. I think it was last year was the last time we had a Canucks hat trick. So Miller, very good game for him, which immediately has Canuck fans saying, hey, we can trade him now. He's not that old and he's on a good cap hit. I'm not sure I understand. Anyways, third period, no Pullman for the final 40. So Tucker Pullman was out for the second period, did not come out for the third either. Pettersson hits a post early in this. Höglander with a net drive, that draws a power play, and the Canucks score on it. It's Besser from Hughes and Miller at 108. I mentioned when I was talking about the Jets today in the one video I made on the Western run that their penalty kill has not been great this year, and tonight it doesn't get any better. Jets try to answer, but Martin saves. So the other interesting thing too is that Miller gets the second assist. He was hit with the puck on that play. Looked like it hurt him a bit, so glad he got that assist because the puck did hit him. Jets try to answer, Martin saves there, and that's where it really becomes the Martin show. Höglander fires one high. We get a fight between Shannon and Lowry. The Jets were clearly frustrated in the second half of this period. Like, they know this is a game they needed to win. Canucks press. Pionk was hobbled, and they didn't blow the whistle on it. He was having a hard time getting around the ice, and the Canucks take advantage. Pettersson, totally on his own because Pionk can barely move. Myers and Hunt with the assists at 14 minutes. So Elias Pettersson, who we all talk about how he hasn't really performed that well, he has 5 goals in 6 games now. It's just that because he got off to such a miserable start, that even if he has a really good second half to the season, we're still going to be talking about how he had a down year statistically because of how rough the first half was for him. Your 3 stars in this 5-1 victory for the Canucks, where they go to 19-5. They're back at 500. The Jets dropped to 17-16-7. And it's been brutal for the Jets. Your 3 stars are Miller, Martin, and Kopp. So Spencer Martin gets in the 3 stars. Your shots 14-10 Vancouver in the first, 15-14 Winnipeg in the second, 9-5 Winnipeg in the third. Final shots 34-33 for the Jets. Power plays Vancouver 2 for 2, Winnipeg 0 for 3. The hits 14-13 Winnipeg. So they outshoot Vancouver by 1. They out-hit Vancouver by 1. They lose 5-1. Martin, 33 saves on 34 shots for his first career win, and Hellebuck, 28 saves on 33 shots in the loss. Hellebuck has not looked like Hellebuck this year. The goalie that the Winnipeg Jets need, and we've talked about this in previous years where Winnipeg's had a good record, he kind of needs to steal them games, and he hasn't been doing that this year. So it really makes a difference in the Jets' results when they're not getting that goaltending from Hellebuck that they're used to. And so big win for the Canucks. Now they get to go play Calgary on Saturday, and we'll see how that goes because both teams looking for wins. Calgary's going to be looking to bounce back from what happened tonight. So that'll be interesting. All right, moving along. The last game of the night, which I was able to give my undivided attention for about half of it. So it's unusual that it ends up this way, that there's only the one game that's late and only started at 6 o'clock my time. So it's Saros versus Koskinen. Early power play for the Predators. The Oilers killed it off and didn't allow a shot. So that's a good omen there, right? Forsberg, though, opens the scoring from Carrier and Granlund at 5:07. The Oilers get a power play. There's a late press by the Predators. However, the Oilers get it out. They get it down the ice. And McDavid scores at 19:28 from Nugent-Hopkins and Nurse. So Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, positive difference for the Oilers since he returned. It's 1-1 after 1. Second period. A delay game call gives the Predators a power play early. There's a shorthanded chance for Hyman. There were actually a couple of them. Power plays killed off. Three power plays for the Predators to this point in the game. No shots. None. 0. And that's all the power plays they'd have in the game. They didn't have another power play. So there was a stretch pass to Granlund. That ends up leading to a little bit of pressure. Duchesne couldn't bury one there. Draisaitl was denied after that. The Oilers get a power play. It's killed off. And then Duchesne scores from Forsberg. Nice goal, bar down. That's the 21st of the year for Duchesne. That's at 8:32. Fogel's then denied the next shift. Lagesson blasts one wide. Jeannot has a net drive. That saved. Things get pushy after because Jeannot causes that kind of stuff. And it's interesting, too, whenever I watch a broadcast, in this case, it was the Sportsnet feed out of Alberta, and you always hear announcers who may not have seen much of Jeannot yet really praise the guy. He can do everything, and it really is a good case for him to maybe end up winning the Calder this year. CC has a chance. There's a glove save by Saros on that. He can't save them all. Ryan scores from Bouchard and Shore at 14:48. Then both teams had rushes in the final minute, but we come out of the second period with the score tied at 2. Third period, early chance for Cunnin. Hyman had a rush chance that was saved. The Oilers are doing some line juggling early in the period. McDavid and Yamamoto were denied. Bouchard with a rush chance, that's denied as well. Saros was keeping it tied. 38 saves in the first 50 minutes of this game for Saros. Good job. Pressure by the Predators with 5.5 minutes left. Benning blocks a chance for Cassian. And it felt like overtime already with 2.5 minutes left. Like it felt like they were just trying to, rag the puck and don't give up the puck and be careful and all this. Last minute, Hyman had a net drive that wouldn't go, and Draisaitl was absolutely robbed. So we go to overtime. Predators control on the faceoff. Duchesne has a chance saved. The Oilers then control it. McDavid has a blast. That one's saved. Post then for Nurse. Hyman couldn't bury an opportunity he had. Nurse takes the puck away from Sissons. The Oilers weren't able to generate much from that. Then we get Johansson to Josi, and Koskinen denies Josi there. And then we get Nurse with a net drive that was saved. We go to the shootout. So it was a very entertaining overtime. We go to the shootout. Draisaitl's chance is saved. Forsberg's chance was saved as well. McDavid gets a goal, and it's a beauty because it's Connor McDavid. Duchesne's chance was saved. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with a chance to win it. That was saved. So now Nashville had to score, and Josi does not. So 5 saves on 6 shots for the goalies, and the Oilers win it in the shootout on the McDavid goal. They finally win this one 3-2. They go to 21-16-2 with the win. Nashville 27-14-4 with the overtime loss. Your 3 stars are Bouchard, Saros, and Koskinen. The shots 13-9 Edmonton in the first, 17-10 Edmonton in the second, 13-7 Edmonton in the third. Nashville outshoots them 4-3 in the overtime. Final shots 46-30 for Edmonton. They're generating a lot of shots right now. They had 50 in their game against Vancouver. Power plays 0-3 for Nashville, 0-2 for Edmonton. The hits 45-29 for Nashville. Saros saves 44 out of 46, I should say, and Koskinen 28 out of 30. So there you go. You're all caught up on those 10 games. And this is the only one that I look at and say, yeah, I could have done better. Anyways, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Tomorrow night's a little bit quieter when it comes to hockey. And then, yeah, Saturday it's all day. Sunday it's pretty much all day too. And of course, remember, we've got the All-Star break starting a week from tonight. I think it's next Thursday. Is it next Wednesday or next Thursday? I think it's next Thursday. All right. Anyways, there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.